Hi, I'm Tracy Brosman, co-founder of World Wellness Education, a community forum to educate, encourage, and inspire a better way of life. We commonly face day-to-day challenges of stress, lack of exercise, and poor eating habits. But with the right approach, we can find freedom. Wake up each morning feeling healthy, focused, and ready to take on the day. Together, we can make a difference, one story at a time. Fibromyalgia is a common chronic pain disorder that affects an estimated 10 million Americans. This condition is more common among women. It causes fatigue and widespread pain among muscles, ligaments, and tendons. Parts of the body become very sensitive, where even the slightest pressure can cause severe pain. The condition is hard to detect and may be overshadowed by other physical ailments. There are no definite tests for fibromyalgia. However, there are ways that you can overcome the disorder. We'll get some advice today from a medical professional who has experienced this herself. Our guest today is Dr. Ramah Wagner, and she is here to share with us how she overcame fibromyalgia and a thyroid condition. Thyroid problems affect an estimated 59 million Americans. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Wagner.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's wonderful to have you here. Can you tell us about the history of fibromyalgia and how you started experiencing problems?
Well, my personal history is not unlike a common many. As we talked about, over 10 million people in the United States are affected. And it started with me in my early 20s, and it was just little things that began to add up: weight gain, chronic fatigue, just having problems with digestion. And that's when my journey really began.
How did it affect your daily activities?
Oh, it impacted it tremendously. I found that even basic things like going to the grocery store, going for a walk, were so difficult. And you know, as a doctor, often we say go and exercise and eat healthy and things like that, but just common things like that are extremely difficult to do.
Was it difficult to determine what was going on in your body?
Absolutely. I think it took me about 7 years to actually get what I would call a true clinical diagnosis of the condition. So now, because of that, in my office with different patients, I run them through a protocol where there's over 18 points on the body, and by 4 kilograms of pressure you can find out whether you have fibromyalgia or not.
Wow. How did this affect your family?
Well, you know, they noticed that there was something happening in me, and I think they didn't know what to call it. But being that my father's a doctor, he just felt that rest and really working on my diet and nutrition, of course, you know, chiropractic adjustments, that I would over time heal.
What did you discover through having it, and how did you heal yourself from it?
Really great question. I found out that the thyroid and the adrenals have a big connection, as well as the digestive tract. So really the foods we eat can impact it tremendously. But it's so hard because when you have fibro, you're so limited on your diet.
What type of diet restrictions did you have?
Mainly just things that were right for me and not causing food triggers or food allergens. And that's something each person is different with.
So did you have to test yourself and really limit your diet to begin with and then take it from there?
Absolutely. It was definitely a journey to find all the components that fit together. But it ends up being very simple. It's all about energy, and it's all about regaining that energy.
I know that thyroid problems are more and more common. What can you share with us on that?
Well, it's such a common thing these days. I'm so surprised that I think over 80% of the women patients that come in have a thyroid condition when they're over 35 years old. So I'm seeing a direct link between thyroid problems and the thing that we want the most as women, which is to have energy, be desirable, and stay thin and beautiful.
Now, you had mentioned nutrition. How can we affect our lives through nutrition and help ourselves with if we're experiencing fibromyalgia or thyroid problems?
Great question, and the answer is simply a lot of the toxins in the food pool in different places in our body. And one of the common places in the body is the thyroid for pesticides. So there's a lot of times we're just covered in our food with toxins and different pesticides and different elements that actually can bog down our body.
Now, can you tell us what kind of doctor you are?
Sure. I'm a chiropractor, a chiropractic physician. I do some acupuncture and I also do physiotherapy in my office. And I work with some energy medicine and specific nutrition.
Wonderful. Now, what is energy medicine?
Wow, it's a hard one to answer. It basically is just all about where on the scale of 0 to 10, where you're functioning. So like some days we're an 8 and some days we're a 4. And energy medicine is nothing more than really the skill set to be able to bring your energy up.
Now, prevention really is a key with anything. So what are some things that we can do to prevent diseases?
Well, really great question again. I don't remember who it was that said an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. It might have been Hippocrates himself. But what I will say about prevention is it's a hard thing, like wellness, to actually define. But it's basically about things like maintaining your body at its best, most highly function.
So how do we get started on our journey to health so that we can operate at our highest function?
Well, being that I have so many different classifications of what I study and research, I find that the spine and nervous system is the #1 bang for buck. So I so much enjoy giving a chiropractic adjustment because it's instant energy that's already within you and it's just tapping into the source you already have.
Now, treating the whole body, often emotional issues will come up. How do you deal with that?
Well, interestingly enough, acupuncture says that emotions also, like toxins, go to certain places in the body. The lungs, for instance, usually harbor grief or loss. A lot of times the kidneys, they hold fear. So different systems are affected by our emotions. Just like when we feel really stressed out, our shoulders and our neck gets tight. So there's almost every time a direct correlation. It's very interesting, intriguing work, and I found that people have really benefited from the treatments that you can do with that.
So how do we individually access the energy within our bodies?
Well, there's so many methods and so many things. I think this World Wellness videos will show a lot of people their different options and some of their choices with that. In my office, we focus on the mind-body connection and also just figuring out where the lowest area of energy is and working there first.
Great. Can you give us some ideas on what we can do for stress reduction, body, mind, and spirit?
Well, something I've been practicing, Tracy, and I really love, I spent some time with Deepak Chopra, who is an inspiration to me as a doctor. And I really learned to meditate. It drops blood pressure, it helps with hormones, and it really gets your blood to be more clean and circulating properly. So I start out every day with, however you want to call it, basically sitting in the silence and really learning to clear the mind. It gives you an extra reserve. Another great thing is the chiropractic adjustment because you're just tapping in already to the power that's already within you. So it's really 2 simple ways to harness a lot more energy that's already there.
Well, that's great advice. Now, Dr. Wagner, you had mentioned adrenal fatigue. Is there any relation to adrenal fatigue and weight gain?
Oh, absolutely, a direct connect. The adrenals are 2 walnut-shaped organs that sit over the kidneys. They produce our cortisol or fight or flight. And in today's age and society, boy, we're all flying by the seat of our pants, and there's a lot of cortisol that gets put out into the body. And what happens is we don't have a lot of rest time. When the adrenals get exhausted, a lot of times you can gain belly fat on the midsection, and it's very hard to get rid of unless you change your lifestyle.
So what type of lifestyle changes do you need to make?
Well, one thing is just getting up and exercising first thing in the morning. I learned that from Suzanne Sommer when I shared the stage with her. She's an incredible lady, definitely on a cause. But another thing is too is there's glandular nutrition, which goes back to specific nutrition, and you can actually give the body the glandular rebuilding that it needs.
Heavy metal toxins are a big thing. Does that affect our hormone pathways?
Oh, absolutely. It's a direct block. Anytime you're bogged down with heavy metals, they have an affinity for the liver, the kidney, the brain, and they also store in the fat. So a lot of times when we're trying to lose weight, we get an overload of heavy metals. Makes it very hard to not only lose weight, but to also feel really good.
How do you remove the toxins from your body safely?
Well, there's many methods, and you'd want to research that a little bit. There's chelation, where you can do it directly with the blood, or in my office we use a natural product that's from lava that chelates and pulls it out of your body. So you really don't know what's even happening, but later in urine studies and medical laboratory testing, you can see how much mercury or arsenic or lead that came out of your body in one day.
I know that a lot of people will often detox, like do a vegetable detox or a fruit detox. Are these fairly safe to do, or should they do it with doctors' advice?
Well, as far as a vegetable or a fruit cleanse, those are absolutely healthy, and most doctors would recommend it. It's just pretty much sticking with nature. But when it comes down to medical laboratory testing and heavy metal chelation therapy, you definitely want to be under, a physician's guidance for all of that. So if you have any questions or any alerts happen, you have someone directly to talk to.
Specific nutrition. Now that is getting into a wide variety of things. Can you give us a little bit more on that?
Well, absolutely. I remember going to GNC so many times in my life and buying whatever the latest herb was or whatever article I had read. How much fish oil does one girl need versus another girl? Yeah. What's really kind of interesting for me is a post-grad study that I did called Applied Kinesiology. And it's really just essentially muscle testing. And you can test the muscles and then therefore go into the different organ systems.
So with that, can you decide whether it's best for you to be more vegetarian or eat more meat?
Well, certainly, and a lot of that is in the blood work diet. I really like that diet because it really does talk about metabolism. A lot of it's at different times for different people. Different things change, meaning maybe 10 years ago I could eat a lot more wheat than I can contain or metabolize now. But with specific nutrition, we can go in and read the body and actually find out what organ systems are getting depleted. So it takes it beyond just a multivitamin or taking vitamin C, and it takes it to a whole nother level to say what specific glands are kind of suffering, or is your digestive tract needing some help, those kind of things.
That's wonderful. Mm-hmm. Thyroid. How do people get tested for thyroid?
Wow, great question again, because when I first thought I might have a thyroid condition, of course, because I'm a doctor, I can order blood work on myself. And of course, I just took the thyroid panel. What I found out was they don't test for the most important thing in that panel, which is called free T3. In the pineal and the pituitary, so they're both in the brain, the pituitary is a master gland of all the hormones. And so what happens is it stimulates through thyroid stimulating hormone, T4. T4 is a chelated iodide onto 4 of them, and it goes through the body, and it took me 3 years of research to find out that 90% of that T4 is converted to T3 in the liver. So again, there's that important connection of heavy metals, heavy metal toxicity, and our hormones, because if we don't convert the inactive form to the active T3 form, we have no energy. So that's where the loop is getting lost, is a lot of times through the cleansing of the liver.
So we have to ask more questions of our doctors when we're getting the thyroid tests.
Yes, it's very important that you ask for the blood work, the free T3. That tells us what's really in your body, what's really converted, and how much energy you have. Because my blood work came back with the thyroid panel perfect, except for until I ordered T3 and I found out I had Hashimoto's thyroiditis.
Wow.
You have to know what to order. If you don't have a physician who's asking those kind of questions, feel free to ask them. If a doctor really cares about you, they'll listen and they'll answer those questions.
That's great advice. What about the adrenals? How do you get tested for adrenals?
That's another tricky one. You can do blood work, but blood work is often theoretical. So in my office, we have medical laboratory testing with saliva, and you take a study all day long to see in the morning, are your adrenals working, but in the afternoon they're exhausted, and that's when you want the Snickers bar or you need the coffee, the pick-me-up in the afternoon, maybe because your adrenal function has gone down.
So you get tested throughout the day then?
Yes, absolutely. And the saliva tests are also really wonderful because they give you all of the hormones in it. So you can find out what's really in the cell. That's the difference between saliva and blood.
Now, tell us about the different hormones, because hormones are different between men and women.
Yes, they are, but yet very similar. Men have all of the same hormones as women, and women have all the same hormones as men. we often don't know that men have estrogen and sometimes estrogen dominance.
Okay.
And that again will cause a belly or cause, weight gain in parts of their body that feminize them. But it's really important just to understand that it's all about the perfect harmony and the perfect balance. And always to start with detoxification and cleansing. Many of my colleagues that are medical doctors say, go to Ramah first. Make sure you can get everything cleaned out and then add on things like bioidentical hormones, or if you need something for your thyroid, that sort of thing. But you should always try to do it naturally first and use what the body already has. That's my belief.
Because the body can heal itself.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being with us today, Dr. Ramah Wagner. Together we can make a difference, one story at a time. Stress is something we all have to learn to manage, and we often look at it as if it is something negative. However, there are times that small amounts of stress can actually provide your body and mind with benefits. Studies have found that low doses of stress can boost the immune system. Stress can also serve as a guidance system to tell you when your life is getting out of balance. Some people also work better under the stress of a deadline, as it increases their productivity levels. Stress always shows up in our lives as a mental or physical reaction, and too much stress can cause headaches, upset stomach, and affect your sleep poorly. Too much stress can also be seen through binge eating, a short temper, and lack of mental clarity. However, even though a little stress can be good for you, it is much more likely that you have too much stress in your life than not enough. So, how do you manage it? First of all, you need to get in a better frame of mind. Take time out and treat yourself to something special, such as a spa treatment, a nap, or socializing with friends. Try to find joy and laughter wherever you can. We often find ourselves being overstimulated in today's society. Try spending some time completely quiet. You can do this by getting into nature, meditating, or just simply turning technology off. Take care of yourself by eating balanced meals, getting enough sleep, and exercise. Our lifestyles often are fast-paced and constantly on the go. Food is easily at our fingertips in fast food restaurants and boxes. We often forget to look at whether we are getting enough and sometimes any nutritional benefit from what we are eating. Take time to make sure that you are getting the nutrients your body needs to operate well. Not getting enough sleep can also affect your stress levels. Try going to bed just 30 minutes earlier and see how your body reacts. You may be pleasantly surprised at how this simple step affects your daily routine. Exercise has so many benefits for your health, but it is also a great way to reduce stress. Try going for a walk, or joining a Zumba class, or going to a yoga or Pilates class. You will find that not only will you be less stressed out and more fit, you will also sleep better. Sometimes your life may reach such a boiling point that you do need to relieve some energy. If you feel you need to go and scream, go ahead, but try to do it where you won't affect anyone else. A great place to scream could be in the car. Roll up your windows, turn your music up real loud, and let it rip. If you are still having difficulty relieving the stress in your life, ask yourself what you can do right now that will make you happy. Start a gratitude journal and begin to look at all the things that are going right in your world. Try doing some deep breathing. We often breathe short, shallow breaths. Just by focusing on breathing deeply can relieve a lot of stress in your body. Breathe in through your nose for a count of 5. Go ahead. Let's do it together right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And out through your mouth for a count of 8. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, and 8. It is really that simple. Doing this just a few times will make you feel immediately calmer and more relaxed. Finally, focus on the solution, and your life will literally turn around 180 degrees. When you focus on the problem, you keep yourself in that stressful energy, and it never feels good. By focusing on the solution, you begin to feel better because you allow yourself to see the possibilities. You allow hope into your life. This allows you to move forward much quicker, eliminating the stressful situation. Take care of yourself and relieve the stress in your life. Doing so can improve your life dramatically. You will sleep better and your relationships will improve. Relieving stress can make you calmer, happier, and more joyful. You will find that you have more patience and are less irritable. Plus, you may also find other health benefits. Thank you for joining us. You can catch the show each week on Lakefront TV and on Heartbeat Radio for Women, WRHB 1410 AM, or you can visit us at a World Wellness meeting near you each week. We'll see you next time.